Shrines coming at you.
All right, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. The draw for game number 1. And it looks like we already see DKittens with the first ban on the Malfurion. This is a little bit interesting to see. You could also emphasize that there's a possible Kerrigan play here. NSJ maybe looking at a Zeratul pickup as well throughout this entire, I would say, team. There's only a few teams that could play Zeratul, and NSJ is one of them.
Well, he definitely impressed me, I think, with his play yesterday. They made it look really easy. A little bit surprising to see them in the lower bracket, but they did go out to a team of Meowpork during the qualifiers to get here. So that's why they were in the lower bracket, another strong team. So obviously, there's a lot of competition at the top, but Conbox, we'll see what they do. Yesterday on this map, they were able to pick up an Ariel Tassadar combo. We'll see if they manage to get their hands on a combo like that, because they had the choice of a Rhaegar. They prefer the Ariel over that, but again, I think a lot of it does hinge on what can NSJ basically put his team on his back and say, guys, I can do a lot of damage. Watch this. We'll see.
And on the side of DKittens, we saw a lot of comfort picks for Zace, and that's Vala. It's definitely going to Zace. We saw Zace play Vala a couple of games yesterday. Very, very consistent play. His other favorite hero would be Li Ming. So Li Ming probably going to sip through the draft here on the side of DKittens. For Conbox SCA, there's a few standard picks here. They may want to consider tapping into the Varian synergy. For Inferno Shrines, it's also important to have a global. So I would go for Varian Dahaka any day. But there's also the added effect of Ragnaros that's still on the line.
I do wonder what they will prioritize. Tychus is a hero that does really well on this map. It's something that Conbox has favored in the past as well. Obviously, you've got the first 2 picks of this side. Outside, obviously, Vala already picked up. So do you favor a Tychus over something like a Li Ming on this map in particular? There's different strategies when we talk about Infernal Shrines, because Li Ming has to hit skill shots. And when you're fighting over the shrines, there are going to be skeletal defenders in the way, so it's a little bit more difficult. So what do they prioritize in the assassin role? Will that be an early pickup for them? As you said, the Varian has been all right. There's the Aura. They like Oriel on this map.
They're switching it up. Conbox is switching it up with a false stat pick so early on. The only other team that does this, I believe, is Resurgence, prioritizing the false stat in the first picking phase. But here we have DKittens still open to the Variant as well as the Haka. They will want to get some form of global because this map is really, really big. And having that extra global allows split soak. It allows you to catch up to EXP. The moment Conbox does something a little bit off, you can always come back into this game.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of new strategies develop over the last few months to where during the early Punishers, you tend to just send somebody away, soak up the lanes, continue to build up that lead because they're not as strong early game. So you take the small advantages, win or lose those early Punishers, and a lot of that does revolve around the global. So Dahaka obviously being a good pickup to help control the shrines. We see a lot of teams, they'll favor the global, they'll try and get the advantages through that, and then we'll see other teams that are just all about winning the objective. So we'll see here after the first Vala pickup, will we see something like a Diablo ETC in the early rotation? I haven't seen any Diablo, I don't think, all weekend. A lot of people have been favoring ETC. Time's up. Here it is. They get Rhaegar, or excuse me, Ragnaros Tassadar. That's a really intimidating first 3 picks there for DKittens.
Yep, not holding back any guns right there. All right, so they left Variant and ETC along with Dahaka completely out. Still no global on the side of DKittens, but what they do have is a very solid opening draft here. Vala, Ragnaros, Tassadar, lots of damage, some form of extra support. It also allows them to hide the last 2 pick, so in case they want to attack into something a little bit more niche, it also will work out. You can see the hovering over of the Variant ban.
The Variant, obviously, with the point-and-click stun, the isolation, we talk about the combination between Ragnaros and Vala. You're able to get the charge, the taunt. Now you have this single-target hero that you can burst down. You have Rain of Vengeance to follow up. You have Sulfurous Smash. There's a lot of really scary things that can combo off of Variant right now. It looks like that might be one of the things that they're worried about. I'll tell you what, though, if I'm any other team in the world, and you tell me that my first 3 picks are Vala, Tassadar, Ragnaros, the odds go up in your favor when you land an early draft like that.
Yep. Just a very, very good strategy coming in here from DKittens. I think the draft itself is fair. They have got sufficient amount of damage on those minions there for the skeleton defenders, like you mentioned. So very okay-ish kind of a pick. But I'm more interested in what Conbox wants to bring, because I feel that the Ragnaros pickup on Daily Kittens is more like a deny against Conbox, but we'll have to see how that works out. Remember that Daily Kittens has got 2 primary support players. They also don't really have a role there. It's kind of like, you know, switching around a little bit, so we'll see how that works out. Of course, they still have not picked the tank for both sides. The ban here probably going to restrict I don't know if they want to take out another tank. We'll have to see.
I wouldn't be surprised if this turns into something like an ETC ban, maybe a Li Ming ban. I just, when I look at, there's the ETC ban, I look at Conbox, and a first pick, first rotation Ariel, Falstad, is very early in a draft on a map like this, especially when you give up heroes like Vala, Ragnaros, Tassadar. They're prioritizing Ariel, which generally doesn't see as high as prioritization on this map or versus most other supports. So a little bit surprised. Their early draft has not necessarily wowed me in terms of, okay, this is really going to bring it home. I look at the early draft on the side of Deadly Kitten and I'm like, wow, that's really strong. So Conbox has to pull something together here.
There we go.
There's the Diablo, there's the Zarya. I absolutely love those 2 pickups.
Very nice pickup there, of course. Double tank, in fact, frontliners really good. Now the question here is, they've already committed so much into the damage department that Conbox is almost confident that they will not see a Tychus on Daily Kittens. But we'll have to see how this is going to pan out from this side.
This has to be a Rhaegar pickup, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it feels like Rhaegar and then whatever you feel comfortable with on that front line. Knowing that you have to go up against something like Diablo Zarya, do you need to feel a little bit safer? Because if Diablo, you walk in there, he grabs you, it could end up being something like Johanna. Instead, they're going to go Tyrael. Solo Tyrael warrior, not as scary when you think about the fact that you have a Tassadar behind you. We don't see a lot of solo Tyrael. We'll see exactly how that works. Obviously, he's got good escape mechanics with his Eldruins. If Diablo does decide to grab a hold of him in there, so we'll see how that goes.
I'd like to see Bloodlust, though.
That is definitely a possibility with this team.
There is some
Bloodlust Archon, Babel.
Bloodlust Archon. Yeah, but for Conbox SCA, they don't really have a burst at the moment, so I think it's still okay. Falstad, kind of bursty, but I would say that the damage there could be mitigated by the shield from Tassadar, so you're not too worried. Also, you got 2 support on that side. Going Bloodlust at this stage looks pretty okay.
If I am Conbox, I look at the other side, I see no hard CC in terms of stuns and roots. This is a Kerrigan game if I've ever seen one, because we have not seen much Kerrigan on Infernal Shrines. I know that adds another melee up there, but we think about her on this map in particular. They might need some more range damage. They might go Tychus, but they go Artanis. That is a heavy front line.
Very heavy front line. You're right. And one Falstad to pack the damage, it's going to be a little bit hard. And I think that this execution may actually be very, very, very tight for Conbox SCA. They have only got this very small window to try and deal those damage. They should be able to overrun Tyrael and Ragnaros, but you cannot forget the fact that they've got Sanctification there also to keep them alive. If Vala stays alive, it's almost guaranteed that Daily Kittens is going to walk away winning that fight. They got a better sustain compared against Conbox SCA, solo Auriel. And don't forget there's no cleanse on this side without Zarya's shield, so very, very different play.
This is one of the few maps when I look at this draft. Obviously, I think we'll see amateur opponent out of Artanis. We don't have a lot of wave clear. I think that's the main thing you have to look at for a team like Conbox. They didn't necessarily draft a lot of wave clear. They have the potential. Artanis will probably be our solo laner. The rest of the team will probably rotate and do their thing. Obviously, Falstad can fit the solo laner. I feel like he might fit better into that 4-man rotation. Rotating 3 warriors is never like an early game strategy you see too much of. But then we look at Zarya. This is one of the few maps where I feel like you might go feel the heat to maybe get a little bit more damage when things are closer to you, as opposed to trying to get that poke damage. Control the shrine, control the area around you. You don't have much in the way of CC threat on the side of Deadly Kittens. So that could be an advantage they can take, or they could have for themselves around the shrine control.
All right, so we're now going into game number 1 in the lower bracket round between Conbox SCA and Daily Kittens. Conbox SCA is from the Philippines, and they're represented by NSJ on the Falstad. Primo going to be playing as the Zarya. He's Koa onto Artanis, as well as Stronger on the Diablo, and Aver will be your Auriel. And on the red team, it is Daily Kittens from Singapore. Kozato will be playing as Rhaegar. Pizasail onto the Tassadar Fiery, as the Ragnaros Myr onto the Tyrael. Last but not least, we also have Zace on the Vala.
Well then, I'll just go ahead and take a seat for this one. So you got another mic issue, Fable.
Yeah, this is the team with mic issues. But, well, regardless of what is it, we hope that they fix it, and we hope that they're ready for this game. This is the first game of the day. They should be feeling fresh, feeling good to go. I was about to ask you this question, Jay How. If you're on the team of Conbox SE with 3 warriors, who do you go and aim for first?
Anybody on the front line. Tyrael, he will have Tassadar shields. But I feel that if you have that control as Zarya on the front line, your real threats are Ragnaros and Vala. Vala hits a little bit of a power spike at 4 if she goes multi-shot build, and then it's 7. But the poke threat is not as worrisome. You have triple warrior, you have Zarya shields, you have AoE heals from Ariel. So there's not a huge threat up there. Again, feel the heat Zarya for that extra damage when you're in melee range and things like that. We're going to see maximum charge picked up, but there's really not too much of a threat when you look at that team. The swaps and being able to combo off of the swaps of Artanis, they're going to be looking to initiate far more than I think we'll see from Deadly Kittens. So I feel like Deadly Kittens might be the more reactionary team when we do see these fights break out. All
right, excited to see how this pans out here. And already the aggression on the top lane. Nice split for Ragnaros to be at the bottom lane here for Deadly Kittens. He's going to get a little bit extra EXP unless the blue team delegates Falstad to fly down. That's the benefit of having the global so early on, so they don't really have to be too worried about it. But so far, NSJ probably going to stick as 4 like what Jay How mentioned.
Yeah, and it's definitely a good call to send Artanis down. We see Diablo just kind of rotating to the top, trying to be a bully. We're seeing the hammering build for NSJ on Falstad, so obviously you want to stay in that 4-man rotation, get as many as you can. There's the CC that you have to be scared of, as we see a little bit of a vault out. Zarto being very aggressive on that Rhaegar, seeing if he can take a bite out of somebody as they walk away.
Zay's positioning in that fight was pretty good. Able to just vault back out. Nearly 2 supports right there. It's going to be very hard to go down on Vala like that. And in the mid lane, nobody's going to be here, but Mur has that Eldruin Smite. Not the furthest Eldruin Smite I've seen, but it will be enough.
I think that was his main goal, is I just want to live here. But we see a 4-man rotation out of Conbox, which is normally a good strategy. You oftentimes do that between the middle and the bottom lane. It's a little bit closer in terms of rotations. And right now, those long rotations are hurting them because they haven't got the pick with that 4-man rotation, and they've basically given up 2 towers on that top fort wall. So not quite as advantageous as they want, but you can see Zarya there soaking up some of the ammo. Very even in terms of experience. Both teams will probably look to try and get forward before they really start this run.
A little surprising to see Ragnaros actually having a Hearthstone back to the base right there. He should be the one winning the lane with 2 skills to clear the lane pretty easily. But here we have Artanis already going to work on the shrine.
Yeah, if it's Artanis, you can basically play safe, be a little bit aggressive on that. You don't have to worry too much about the threat. Let your team soak forward. They'll join you in a moment. That's when we'll see the fight break out. Ariel not yet making her way down. Falstad with the global. Both teams are 4, though. Primo just going to give himself a little bit of energy there and hope for Ariel to come down and give him some heals.
Yeah. All right. So Fiery now, on behalf of Deadly Kittens, going to knock on the shrine. But the other 4 members of Deadly Kittens in the mid lane applying some form of pressure here. Here comes Ariel. The heal's finally in play. And we see Pizza Xiao on the Tassadar just pulling back stronger, looking for a target. Does not find anyone yet. Primo going full-on aggression against Zay's. Vala pulling back. Stronger still finding the entrance. And Mur goes in. But there is no follow-up. The stun on the Mur. And Tyrael has got no Eldruin Smite. He's going to need some form of support there. The shield's not going to be enough. He will go down. The Archangel's Wrath will actually do a lot of work against his Koa. And Kozato with that fiery doggy bite. Going to take down the kill right there.
Stronger trying to walk away on the backside. We've got to be very careful if you're on the side of Conbox. Those Vala pokes are very, very scary. The longer you stay in there, it's very easy to keep your hatred stacks up if you are Vala. A little bit surprising of an engagement there, but what we saw is for Tyrael is going to get far worse. Diablo is such a control hero when we talked about that. We saw the charge into the wall. You get the devastating charge at 13. You build that quest up. Tyrael's going to have a hard time once we hit post 13 if he can get the good charges as well as the overpowered slams.
All right, so we have a bottom lane push coming in. Ragnaros going up to the top lane. But the other 4 members from Deadly Kittens are going to be able to take out the well here with the Punisher. There's going to be one more stun, and he lands on 3. But they're not going to capitalize on that. They will just pull back.
All right, the fort stands. The fort wall goes down. A little bit of experience lead for Deadly Kittens, so an early advantage to them. Very early. It's too hard to really tell what we're going to see as we can see Vala on the side of Deadly Kittens. That is going to be the absolute biggest threat for that of Conbox to deal with. So we'll see if they decide to dive. We haven't seen any major swaps attempted yet, so we'll see when those moments happen, if they can capitalize.
It's going to be interesting to see Vala full-on multi-shot build right there. That's going to help a lot against some of the squishies in the backline if the positioning is correct. Now, we also see that the rotation from Conbox kind of slowed down a little bit here. They realized that a 4-man is not going to do much work against this lineup, and they've sort of stopped it for a bit. But hold that thought, Fiery, though, with the blast wave, is going to be okay.
Maybe his face prism was down. I was going to say they could probably bully him a little bit in that lane. But speaking of being bullied, Primo having to walk away. He's getting some reinforcements with NSJ rotating down on far side, trying to poke. But Zays is just return firing. Heals coming in from Ariel are going to allow them to defend this, but very aggressive right now by DKittens. I'm liking what I'm seeing early game from him.
Yeah, I like how Zays is playing this. He's playing completely full-on aggression, placing a lot of trust in two supports right there, and he just doesn't care. Look at the amount of free right clicks he's getting off this. The value is insane. One Oriole is not going to be enough. Zays with the aggressive play, sidestep the detainment strike. Mur now coming in, unfortunately getting slow a little bit. Would have been a really good fight otherwise.
Double support with Tassadar on a Vala. You can be as aggressive as you want. And you look at the health bars. Right now, DKittens is just walking in and doing whatever they want. That fort is theirs, and they are getting really close to 10 as we prepare for the next Shrine phase. As it now is here, we'll see who activates it first and really wants to go. If DKittens opts to delay this and try and soak 10, I would not blame them one bit. Try and get back-to-back punishers here in the early game.
Yeah, it will be good to see a bit of extra soak coming in from Conbox SCA. They are one level down. Looks like it will be a pretty easy Shrine here. No much of a contest, but top lane, they want to get some EXP from Fiery. Blast Wave will expire, and the swap comes back in. Some heals from Kozato, and the teammates all arrive just very nicely. It's unfortunate that it's a mid Shrine. If it's a bottom Shrine, man, that Ragnaros is dead.
I think the problem there was we saw the extra movement speed from Ragnaros, which is a great ability for him. We saw the swap back over. Diablo was still chasing. I don't think he was able to use his overpower there as he was just out of range both times. But level 10 picked up for DKittens. Conbox definitely needs to continue this soak to get level 10 to try and defend against this. So we'll see how much value they get out of this Punisher, which is going to be a Mortar Punisher pushing. Frozen. It was lit up orange when I saw it. I was baited.
All right, here we go. Going into the mid lane, though. Level 10 just hit by Conbox SCA. They got the Expulsion Zone as well as Suppression Pulse. You should look pretty okay so far. And Apocalypse coming in as well. So you don't expect DKittens to overcommit right here because there is the possibility that they may overextend. And we see the Ragnaros with the flank on the top side. His Koa just waiting for the right moment. Some stuns coming out. The Frozen Pulse is also connecting, but it doesn't matter. DKittens gets the fort and try to get out right here. NSJ does have the Mighty Gust, but is not going to make an aggressive play.
Yeah, they were unwilling to commit there, and I don't blame them. His Koa was basically hiding in the bush looking for an opportunity, but it was a foregone conclusion. That fort was going down. DKittens right now, they've got a level and a half, almost level and a half lead, and they're looking to be aggressive. This is a very, I don't want to say greedy call, but they're just flexing right now on Conbox, and Conbox has no answer.
Yeah, Conbox is taking it very, very safe. They are the team with 3 warriors. You would be expecting a lot of early game advantage because of the sheer amount of HP that those warriors have. The rotations did not work for them, and even right now at this stage, it just looks like they are the one playing from behind.
They are trying to build Artanis more to do damage as he swaps in, and he's actually going to eat the worst of it as he takes some tower shots. But we see the follow-up, the damage at 7, not the swap with the phase prism for the speed. But again, once we see 13, Diablo will become a much, dare I say, stronger force with that devastating charge. I looked at it and I'm like, wait a minute. Pun's too real. Hello, Stronger on Diablo.
For all you guys who don't know this, Stronger plays a wide variety of heroes, man. He used to be playing support. Expulsion Zone, by the way, connecting on Zays, but 2 supports right there. Stronger swings by, does nothing, and just pulls back like that. Man.
I got to question that Expulsion Zone a little bit. It didn't. Also, Furious Smash with no CC. They're going in. There's the stun. Crystal Aegis as the Mighty Gust pushes them away.
And Primo now pulling back Kozato, trying to land a slow, but does not get it. Mur also going in. No holy ground whatsoever. Primo still going very low. No shields, and down goes the Zarya. Apoc comes out. Stuns only the Ragnaros, and Ragnaros pulling back his Koa. Finally joins up with this team here, but it has been a kill in favor for DKittens.
That was 2 heroics too late. If you put down that suppression pulse earlier, Zarya lives, and you don't have a dead Zarya. And you think about Suppression Pulse, it's not a very long cooldown. You could use that actively without the fear of worrying about people dying against a heavy auto attack team between mainly Vala.
And this is my problem here with Conbox draft. You know, with Oriel, you gotta play aggressive. And they've only got that false stat to gain charges on Oriel's heal. That's how she works, right? But when you're pulling back, it's almost guaranteed you're not gonna get any form of heal coming out from your Oriel, because the rest of the team's not attacking. Everyone's just pulling back, and that's a big problem here. When you only have got one range damage dealer, you're really just relying on a false stat to get heal charges.
It looked like a little bit of indecision right there on Conbox. If they had gone up, taken that fort wall, they had minion waves there, take that fort wall, get some experience, everybody hearth back. Now you can defend safely with 13. Instead, you're going to find it a little bit more difficult. 13 will get here. There's 2 minion waves. That might be enough, but there's a Punisher that will be approaching the bottom keep, which is putting Deadly Kittens well in the lead.
Right, waiting for... this is like still a 5-man, right? Ragnaros and Molten Core doesn't even matter right now. He's going to join up with the rest of the team, and we have to keep in a little bit of trouble. Dagos is done onto Artanis, but the Gus immediately comes out to deny any possible rotations, or you could say burst onto Primo. Primo dropping a little bit of HP still, and I think this is going to be it. They should be happy here and not overextend.
This is a different Deadly Kittens team. They are far more refined here in day number 2 from what I've seen. And they are making all of the right plays. They're not becoming over-aggressive. They're taking things that they've given themselves throughout the game. They have a 2-level lead. They have a keep down in 11 minutes. They are firmly in control. And Babel, right now, Conbox has to look for a fight, look for a pick, because 16 will be obtained for Deadly Kittens before the next Shrine phase. It will not be there for Conbox. They have to start making plays, else this is going to continue to spiral out of control. Deadly Kittens can play patient and just roll this game home. If they keep playing like they are, this will be a game number 1 for Deadly Kittens. Conbox has to do something.
Yeah, whatever trick that they have up their sleeve while they were in the drafting phase has to show right here, because it's just clearly not working according to plan. 13 against 16, and you can see that the rotation's coming in already. And Zarya taking a bit of a damage. Ragnaros with the flank behind. Crystal Aegis connects, but there goes the Apocalypse Stronger, trying to keep the team alive. Archon comes out. NSJ with the Mighty Gust. Endeavor trying to pull back out. Fiery is still alive. And that is exactly how the double support out-sustains Conbox SEA. Stronger in a lot of trouble. No Mighty Gust. Rain of Vengeance does connect. Stronger still alive somehow. Second one only connecting in the background. And Sanctification also gonna keep Deadly Kittens alive. Endeavor dropping so low. And we still see his Koa alive somehow, but not much longer. NSJ gonna be very careful. And 2 men down on the side of Conbox SEA. Diablo has got that, you know, anti-death mechanic. It's like a cheating mechanic. I've called it out for the longest time, but he's still alive somehow.
He's got those souls, but I can't help but point out that holy ground that locked Artanis in. Perfect placement by the Tyrael player. Nicely done. And look at this. We have a 2.5 level lead. Talent to your advantage. Another shrine is activated. We'll just go ahead and steal your camp while we're here. Good luck defending against another Punisher, and good luck keeping the keep alive. This could be, if it continues to push into what we've seen so far, this could be the game-ending Punisher if they're not careful. Conbox is in a very tough spot.
Nice holy ground once again, and then we have the Crystal Aegis connecting. Stronger, still okay. Sulfurous Mesh coming out already. Primo going to be alive, but not so good for Stronger on the Diablo. And man, that burst from Fiery, the whole team's on fire today.
Can I ask you a question, Babel?
Yeah, what's up?
If I'm Ragnaros and we force an early Crystal Aegis, Sulfurous Smash is a lot easier to use because the minute that Crystal Aegis wore off, a Sulfurous Smash was there as the hammer comes down, and that is... It's kind of one of the bad things when you're playing Ariel. That's why I was surprised that we see an early Ariel pick, and now we're seeing some, I guess, negative synergy towards how it works versus the enemy team comp. So it's a little bit of a tough spot. Yeah. But again, Tyrael's Holy Grounds are dictating a lot now post-16.
Mer playing a very different game from yesterday. He's very much on point. He's very confident here. Stronger goes in. No more Druid's Might for this one. But Mer just sure level 16, man. It's very tanky. Some extra shields from Tassadar. He doesn't even care at this point.
There's nothing. This fort is going down. If they get this fort down and this Punisher is not baited over the top keep, which is what they're trying to do, They have to get it all the way to the keep. We might see Molten Core. We might see an attempt on this. I think right now, Deadly Kittens, they take the keep. They walk away. They play the experience game. They get 20, and they continue to dictate the pace, as Diablo might be getting caught out there.
Stronger just went too deep, but there goes the expulsion zone. He may actually find an angle here for Zaze and Mur, but there goes the Ancestral connects beautifully on the Tyrael. Zaze still alive somehow. Sulfurous Smash on the background there, and it seems like Oriel also going to get deleted. There goes the 5th member. It's a 5-man team wipe. This is going to be game. Deadly Kittens, man. This team is on fire.
Things looked rough, but a clutch Ancestral, clutch Sanctification now leads to a Game 1 victory for Deadly Kittens. And you are 100% correct. They are on fire. That was some of the most flawless play that you will see from beginning to end of a game on Infernal Shrines. They played the map, they played the picks, they played the rotations. They did almost nothing wrong. Almost nothing wrong. That was an amazing game by Deadly Kittens.
Straight away from the laning phase, you could tell that this team has a plan. They put double support on the weakest possible lane, the Vala, and they also have Ragnaros in the bottom lane, Tyrael in the mid lane. It's almost as if that the strategy coming out from Conbox was just off the bat not going to work.
It was tough. I mean, you have Artanis. Artanis is known to be a playmaker because of the new mechanics with the Blade Dash into the Phase Prism. You get the swap. If you were to ask me, did we see one during a team fight, I would tell you no, because it didn't look like anything was actively happening. And you have the defensive tools of Tassadar or Sanctification and things like that to mitigate any type of swap you get. There was some good mobility between a few heroes that you have. So it was very difficult to execute. And I think that their comp, they did not play to their strengths, did Conbox. And if they were waiting for moments, they waited for the wrong moments. It was a little bit disjointed, I think, at times. The early rotations, as you said, from the very beginning of the game, it dictated the experience, the pacing of the game, and Deadly Kittens just rode it all the way to victory from literally 2 minutes in until the end of the game.
I think it's more on the fact that, like what I mentioned before in the drafting phase, that the execution here for Conbox SCA is really, really tough. You need a flawless execution, because if you think about it, Vala's got the Vault, Ragnaros, he's got that Blast Wave, he's going to be able to move so fast, and Tyrael, well, Tyrell's just Tyrael, man, Eldrin's Might, and he's out, so not much of a trouble from Deadly Kitten. Flawless drafting. I think Mur did the drafting for this one, and I think he definitely did great here. And you mentioned also they played the map so well. They played it, they defended all their weaknesses very nicely. They went for fights in the right moment, and it's just beautiful.
There's a lot of people that, when you watch Heroes of the Storm, I don't blame you, right? That you just want to see like epic fights, you want to see epic plays, you want to see these things. But there's a certain beauty when you play the map, play rotations, and you dictate the pace of the entire game. It might not be as exciting to some people, but if you're a true Heroes of the Storm fan, you're like, that was a really good game. Like, that was a flawless game. So for me to watch that, I was super impressed. Deadly Kittens, after day one, I watched their qualifiers. I watched their play yesterday. A little bit mixed. Obviously, we have a best of 5, so they still have a little bit more to prove. But game one, I think they came out in a very strong showing.
Very strong showing. It's like they just, they went through the entire routine yesterday where they were nearly knocked out, and today, these guys, they want to win it. You could feel them wanting to win this right now.
Yeah, not too bad at all. We'll see how we do in game number 2. What was the map that we had? Was it Cursed for
Hollow.
Game number 2?
Yeah, we're going Cursed Hollow.
This, again, is a map that if you play it correctly,
yeah,
you can force rotations. You play to your global strengths, which they had the global last game. Or no, the global was on the other side. They actually didn't play to that strength. I don't know why. But you can dictate the pace of the game. You can dictate rotations. There's 2 bosses on the map. There's several camps, the tributes. You can play around the spawn points depending on where they are. They can be the second one can be predictable at times, depending on how much you know, how much you're paying attention, things like that. So there's a lot of things that you could take advantage of on this map. We'll see if Deadly Kittens has as good a strategy for game number 2 as they did for game number 1.
I have actually seen Deadly Kittens run Abathur here before in Cursed Hollow. It's one of the signature moves, so I'm looking forward to seeing that again. Not sure if the elements are in place for them to pull that out.
Play, by the way.
We'll see, man.
Love it.
I'm missing a lot of Abathur play recently.
It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while, so we'll see. Also, one key thing to note is that if you thought that the first game, Infernal Shrines, that battleground required a lot of strategy, Cursed Hollows,
it's a lot more.
Because you really want to get whatever advantage that they get. I know the basic HL, Diamond League or Grandmaster League knowledge would be to go for the camps before the first tribute, yes. But what happens after that? Yeah, that's the question. Everyone is like, you see some teams really fall apart from there. Some teams really like to soak. Some teams just do insane rotations but achieve nothing. So playing to your strength here in Curse Tala is very important, especially if you get the first Curse. You're almost guaranteed a really, really long start into this game.
Timing around it can occur right around 10 if you get all 3. But let's take a look at the draft. Will we see some Abathur play? You know, Babel, last year I remember working with Dredd and some other people where we were getting really big into analytics and stuff like that. On the global stage, the 2 highest win rate heroes. We're talking about big global events. Number 1 was Abathur. Obviously doesn't get played a lot, but he had a decent amount of games to make it worthy. The second one was Zeratul. Both heroes do really well on this map.
Yep.
Just saying.
Also, there is a Zeratul player on the side of Conbox SCA. That would be NSJ. So looking forward to seeing those plays. We actually saw Zeratul yesterday as well. Pretty good. Very impressive plays coming in. We'll have to see what DKittens has to offer. I'm not saying Zaze cannot play Zeratul, but I'm just thinking that he is playing the role of the range assassin right now. And if you look at the way DKittens draft in the last game, they can afford such a dominating performance because we all know DKittens has got 2 support players. Like they have a flex support into a secondary tank. But in most of the games that they lost yesterday, where they had 2 tanks, it didn't really work. It looked like they were struggling a little bit. So I think that with this Testar ban from Conbox SCA, they're just saying that we don't want to deal with 2 supports. Let's see how DKittens draft in response to that. Of course, the ban here should be the Malfurion, but we'll see what it is. It's going to be ATC instead. All right.
Now, this region, I think, values Malfurion a little bit higher than a lot of other regions would probably pick up a Ragnaros here. Obviously, we've seen some minor tweaks to Ragnaros. The big one obviously going to be coming next week to his level 13 talent. We'll see how that goes. But Ragnaros, strong pick. Malfurion, a strong pick. Do we see Conbox say that we need that strong... Yep, the last game, their first rotation was Ariel Falstad. They might prioritize something like Falstad a little bit higher. So... meta-wise, they might just play more to their strengths more than they play more to the meta. So we'll see here with their first pick.
I think that if it's, again, another Oriel pickup, it would be a huge question on Enniver's hero pool. But he also plays Malfurion, so I am pretty sure that they're going to pick Malfurion at this stage. If not, his hero pool is going to get a little bit locked down. It will be the Malfurion for Enniver. And for DKittens on this side, I think they perfectly expected this. With the ban on the ETC, it's only one main reason, because they know that Stronger, he is an insane ETC. In fact, it's one of the main reasons why the old Renovation team, Imperial Pro team, IPT, was able to win last season. Stronger on that ETC with insane tour bus, mosh pit, and you just name it, man. This guy, he has it all in the bag. Here, they don't want to see that.
They don't at all. I think right now, DKittens, this will probably be something like a Ragnaros Vala. They might prioritize Vala a little bit less because there are other options on this map. They played it really well last game. It's a very strong hero. We might see Li Ming rotation coming in. It might make it after the second ban. It might even be banned out. But Ragnaros, I feel like, should be in this first rotation. They go Varian. There's the Ragnaros.
There we go. And if played correctly, the synergy between Mur, who's probably going to be playing the Varian, as well as Ragnaros being played by Fiery, you can always go into a Charge, Taunt, Sulfurous Smash. It should be enough to pick up, especially considering the fact that Malfurion is not an anti-burst healer. He's an AoE, or rather single target, considered single target, slow sustain healer. Yeah, not really an AoE healer unless you go for Tranquility, which isn't really a thing these days.
I don't know why, though. I think there's certain moments where Tranquility has a place. Twilight Dream, obviously the playmaker, though.
There's this argument on Malfurion, and I think that it's pretty solid one, is that you play Twilight Dream when you want to play defensive. Like when you want to draw the enemy in, you play Twilight Dream. But you play Tranquility when you want to play offensive, like when you want to push down a fort, when you want to push down a keep. Instead of using it reactionary, you use it proactively, where the enemy team is forced to pull back because they know they cannot take your fight. That's where Tranquility could be useful, but we'll see.
We'll see. Jahaka, I like the pickup there. This is, okay, let's see what they go with here. They do opt for the Li Ming. I expect we might see a Vala ban on the side of Conbox.
It should be.
The thing I worry about, though, because if DKittens opts to play Zeratul, you could easily go with somebody.
Oh, no. I don't think they have the...
They're going to surprise you.
Well, I don't think they have the hero pool for that, the right players for that.
They'll just surprise you.
And this kind of information is very privileged, but it only comes because I know these guys for very long. I've been casting against very long.
Fiery is the melee.
Fiery is the melee in this team. Unless you want Zaze off and then to Zeratul, but that it's really, really tough to pull off, especially against Malfurion. Don't forget, you have the Twilight Dream to work with. So I really like this draft from Conbox SCA. I think that the last game, they wanted a global. They picked up the fall set a little bit too early, and they go into 3 different warriors where it could actually be one. And there we have the Zeratul Ben. Are they really just
the other way around? Whatever, it's the same.
Are they tuning in? Are they?
The Zeratul ban doesn't make as much sense. I think it would work for Conbox. I think right now, if you're Conbox, you take Vala off the board. You just limit the ranged assassins. You give yourself some advantage. Now, one of the heroes that they played last game.
There we have it. I love this. This is great drafting. Very targeted at Zace. He's going to be forced to play something else. We've only seen him play Leeming Vala this entire tournament, per se. I've seen one game on Illidan, that's all. But no Testadar means no Illidan. So what's the response from DKittens?
It'll be...
I hope it's a Vala. Yeah, there we have it, a Vala ban. Great. This is exciting right now. Banning the Zeratul is only because energy is really good on that. Playing Falstad for Zace, I feel like it's one of his weaker heroes because we saw him with a really weird Gus against Meowpoke yesterday in Sky Temple top lane after Mer charging in. So most players...
I was going to say, at this point, it has to be Falstad or Gul'dan, right? They favored Gul'dan
I rather Gul'dan. I rather Gul'dan, yeah. But if you ask me, Zace Falstad, the Gus is not really something that he's proud of. Oh, it's going to be a Tychus. All right, that's fair.
Well, again, when you normally pick up a Dahaka, you basically commit yourself to that double warrior role. This is actually a time where I would actually like to see Diablo again. Varian goes in, you can punish that. You have a lot of terrain to bully people into. There's a lot of good heroes, even if you just try to keep it simple. Muradin, we could see something like a Tyrael, something along those lines. So we'll see exactly what they try and do. I think Diablo or Tyrael would be really good. If they opt to go Zarya, I'd be a little bit surprised. But I think Tyrael would be a really good pickup here.
Got to be very careful of the Tychus pick there. That almost locks down the Haka, absolutely. With adaptation, he should still be fine. We also have to remember that it's Pizza Xiao on DKittens. He is probably going to be playing that Tychus. Whereas for Zace, he's still open right now. So, very, very nice set of strategy here from DKittens. For Conbox SCA, I like the Diablo pick, like you mentioned. Except Tychus is kind of like a hard counter. So, they're going to go Johanna. Alright, so the blinds against Ragnaros and Tychus, I think that'll work out pretty well.
Let's take a minute to realize that this is double support Malf Kharazim and Johanna. So Kharazim can put out a little bit of damage. Dahaka can put out a little bit of damage. Johanna doesn't really put out any damage. You are putting a lot on Leeming's shoulders.
Yeah, all in Leeming.
But double support. They are looking to isolate somebody, maybe literally with Dahaka. But they're banking on the fact that they're going to get value out of 7-sided strike on the front line. This is
very all in. It feels like there's only 2 scenarios in which Conbox SCA can come up on top, whereas there's 8 where they don't. And the last pick here is going to really dictate this entire draft here for DKittens. I am actually more inclined to think that Zace hasn't picked a hero yet. Tychus should probably be going on Pizza Xiao. I'm not sure if the Kharazim pickup there was kind of like a deny for a secondary support for DKittens. That remains to be seen. Oh, Medivh. All right. They are just taking out the guns. This is interesting.
Conbox's draft.
It feels like it didn't work at the end.
I'm trying to... Okay, so we saw Triple Warrior in Game 1.
Yep.
They didn't execute it well. Now, obviously, Dahaka is going to do great at soaking. He's going to be great at playing the global role. But where does this excel? Leeming is... You're putting a lot into Leeming, and then you're going to have a dive with Kharazim. Johanna is just literally a frontline hero that doesn't really make a lot of plays. She has Blessed Shield that works, but I feel like it's a very safe frontline pick.
Very pure frontline, that's all. I feel like there's a little bit of a weird draft towards the last 2 pick. I was more inclined towards a Diablo. I think a Diablo would have been a lot better. There's a lot of
something to make more plays happen for
nooks and crannies around. I think the Zeratul ban threw them completely off their game in terms of the draft there. So we'll have to see.
So you ban Kharazim?
Oh,
or you
man.
pick up kerosene?
I just really don't like the kerosene pickup. But we'll see how this works out. Ladies and gentlemen, going into game number 2 between Conbox SEA and DKittens. DKittens on the blue team, 1 game up, and it's going to be Zays on the Merdiv. Kuzato playing as a Rhaegar. Mer on the variant. Fiery will be your Ragnaros, and Pizza Sail on that Tychus. And on the red side, Conbox SEA from the Philippines. Stronger will be playing as the Joanna. Primo onto the kerosene. We also got Hiskoa as the Haka, and we got Enever playing as Malfurion. Last but not least, NSJ on the Liming. Now, we talked about this during the draft. It looks like they're all in on Liming. If this doesn't work, if she is taken out, they essentially lose almost all their damage.
It will be something. There's not a huge threat unless we see a very aggressive Medivh portal, maybe a Calamity that doesn't quite secure the kill, and then Li Ming has a compromised situation. We'll see how that plays out. But right now, the 3-man rotation down at the bottom, this should be an early game advantage for Conbox going up against this. You can just poke all day. You have Malfurion, you have Enervate to be able to supply that, and there's really not a threat towards this bottom. Clear the lane, push it in, and get yourself that early experiences. Hiskoa walking away from the early threat of Tychus and Rhaegar.
I like how the laning is going on so far. From the side of Conbox SEA, they have got the Haka top lane. That's the benefit of having a global. Karazim mid, which means he should be able to run away with Radiant Dash pretty easily. Now, bottom side, it's 3 versus 2 here. And Zay's doing a pretty good job with the harassment on the Arcane Rift, but it may not be enough to stop them taking down this tower.
I feel they can be far more aggressive. Varian is showing. Your top is showing 2 heroes up there. You have a 3-man that is under no threat. Medivh can't really do a lot of damage. He misses 1 Q, and now he's got a little bit of a cooldown as they bring Karazim in. But support with Malfurion, Li Ming, I am just destroying that front wall right now if I'm Conbox.
Yeah, you're right. They could play it a lot more aggressively. Problem is that Karazim is just rotating between the mid and bottom side. Joanna also, they are switching it up a little bit. We just saw Karazim in the bottom lane for a little bit. I just feel that the main objective of Zace and Fiery here is Zace wants to harass, Fiery just wants to clear the lane. So that's the main reason. They want to slow this down as much as possible, play that game again, and you see the 2 minutes mark where teams just go into their siege golem camps.
It's an interesting strategy. Obviously, it works really well. The Tribute will spawn in one of the middle spawn points, but it's a 50-50 chance. It's top or bottom. So RNG might be with you, it might be against you. Both teams are willing to gamble there. But we've seen some strategies develop a little bit on Cursed Hollow to where you ignore that. If the enemy goes to do that, then that allows you to be aggressive in the lane, so you start getting early lane pressure and then hope that you played the right card, as we see the side of Conbox will get a little bit more value out of their Siege Giants because this did spawn at the top.
All right, so far looking pretty okay here. Conbox SEA rotating to the top lane. We got Fiery still at the bottom. He's probably not going to come in. His squad already with the channel. Kuzato looking to just stop that a little bit. He nearly forgot the lightning shield there. Pizza Xiao landing a little bit extra damage. There goes the charge of burst on the Stronger, and it's going to be okay. The root's coming out as well, but the clan's already in position there. It seems like Mer being able to pull back out. And they will also be able to address the siege golems. You're right. This is absolutely going slightly in favor here for Conbox SE. They will not have to face the Ragnaros for a bit.
Yeah, the thing about it is now that we see Ragnaros down in the bottom as well as Varian in the middle, this should be an easy cap. There, they finally got it. But that took a little bit longer than expected. You can see the experience advantage going to DKittens because of the nice delay by the team at the top. So very well played. Hiskoa going to make up for a little bit of that lack of experience. Going to use his global to get down to the bottom and make up for it that way.
All right, so far still okay. I mean, half level, not a lot, right? So still pretty fine. You can see similar strategies. Again, I have to remind everyone that's watching this game here that the core members, in fact, the leaders of both of these teams used to be part of the same team. So you could see the strategies being very similar, almost the same time going to the camps, almost the same way of playing this game. Man, this is going to be really intensive.
They're mirroring each other, to say the least. Experience pretty close. Both teams level 7. Tribute will be spawning soon, but both teams picking up their bruiser camps in the middle, basically negate each other. Let's see. That's a ping. I'm on my way. Let's see if I was gonna say, does Dahaka have his global back, and does Stronger live here?
Okay, Stronger. Some side steps coming out. The Arcane Rifts not connecting, and a B steps coming out. Stronger. Man, I love this guy.
He seems to have a little bit of fun when he plays, but second tribute will be spawning here. We'll see who walks away with this one. Conbox SEA, they have some things to their advantage. If the NSJ on the backside, he might be body blocked. Do we have a portal?
Wow, perfect portal from Zeus. Kozado gonna be fine there. Well, avoiding certain doom. Some frag grenade coming up from Pizza Xiao. Primo again. I like to say it was very well done on the side of Conbox SEA. Zeus now a little bit of trouble, but definitely has got a portal still available. NSJ throwing in. Dropping very, very low now. You can expect an aggressive play coming in from Zeus. That's just the way he plays. But the heals already coming in. Double healer is so good. And meanwhile, while all of that's happening in the mid lane, you see his squad coming in here. And that they are just clearing up the meat bruiser camps. That's exactly what they were doing there. So it was like a little bit of a 3v3.
One of the things that I think right now, Conbox, if they really want to take control of this, Fiery, he's rotating down to the bottom. All right, so the first two tributes spawned at the top. They spawn in the middle and the right. So the next tribute will be spawning in the bottom left. If you opt on the side of Conbox to grab your boss, it will force either response to that boss to give you an advantage to try and capture that curse, try and capture that tribute at the bottom left. It's one of the plays that sometimes we'll see people make. Right now, they're opting not to pick up their boss. They're just going to play it, try and soak, and get 10 and contest the next tribute there. So nobody opting for the boss there. Right there would have been a power play for Conbox if they had decided to go for theirs.
I think it's a little bit of a risky play, and with so much stakes on the line, just going to play it safe, man. But here we are, almost level 10. Rotation on the stronger in the mid lane again with the B-Staff. Pizza is in position. Primo swings by. Leeming taking a bit of a beating there. Nice rip from Malfurion. There goes the Condemned Mer taking a little bit too much damage. Also going to see the Calamity coming in. Primo giving a chase. Varian now a little bit of trouble. Looking for the shield. Kozado going in for the heals instead. Stronger. Again, we have another Condemn. Arcane Knob not connecting. You could see the instantaneous entangling roots. By the way, the tribute's going to spawn right about now.
Tributes here, level 10, very close for both teams. Ragnaros was soaking the entire time in the bottom lane, so they have a slight experience advantage. We do see the delay there. Dahaka's going to stay on the top, try and get 10, but I think Conbox is going to have to give this one up.
Oh, man. Out of range in the shield glare. Pizza Xiao landing the frag grenade. It's spotted. He does have quarterback at level 7, so he has that increased range. Going to be a lot easier to harass on those tributes. Malfurion is in a no man's land right here. Going to have to land the entangling root somewhere, or he just used it. No, he's just purely trying to run away. So Fury Smash comes down. Boom, baby. That is a dead Malfurion.
Well, that's not a bad combo here, Babel. Level 10 has been picked up now for Conbox. They will be without Malfurion for a few more seconds, but he will be back in time for the next shrine. Or the next tribute, I should say. Seven-sided strike, of course. It could be a shrine.
It could be a shrine. Oh, man. Same combo again, but not as effective with Zeus. All right, so next tribute, very crucial for Conbox. More so for DKittens. They are currently half a level ahead, but they're going to be playing this very, very carefully because if they get the curse, that is almost guaranteed a lot of advantage for Conbox.
Tributes are just alternative shrines.
You can call them whatever you like, man, J-How.
All right, next tribute, time to spawn. We're going to see, can Conbox get the first curse of the game, or will DKittens maintain, pick up a second one of their own? Eventually, things are going to come to a head when the curse is oh so valuable. Piscoa and Kozarto already up top. We'll see as everybody comes up here, Leeming a little bit behind. Just channel this, bait out Medivh, try to come down. Where will we see this blow up stronger? Going to be the man on the front line. Here we go. Sulfura Smash has been used.
And Leeming just coming in. There goes the seven-sided strike. And you could see the Twilight Dream being very effective. But look at that ley line. Instant disengage. And it seems like Red Team still somehow ahead. Zeus coming in through the portal. Got to be very careful. Mer now getting healed to full HP. Leaving meter coming in. Leeming just way overextending there. Varo being used by Dahaka. We also see I would say that's stronger. Yeah, stronger on Johanna just pulling back, and the tribute will go to the blue team. 3 men down. Fiery still giving chase, and they really want a Malfurion meet. Pizza's coming in from behind. Malfurion in a lot of trouble, man. Totally no respect for the fort.
Give me that boss. Make a boss play. I want to see it right now. Kerazim's going to be showing bottom. Actually, he hasn't shown bottom. The minute he shows, you instantly dive on that boss. You know that Malfurion's not going to be up for a while. Kerazim won't be able to make it here. They're not willing to make the play. They're going to play it out, get 13, and continue to soak and play next tribute. But the thing that we talked about in the draft was that Li Ming would be under no threat. And I said the only way she would be threat is if she tries to use Calamity, as we see, speaking under threat, Tychus might be a goner here.
Yeah.
Is that if Li Ming uses her combo and doesn't secure the kill, now all of a sudden Li Ming's too deep. The Ancestral landed, and they saved the life there, so Li Ming did not secure the kill, did not secure the reset, paid for her life. That is exactly what can go wrong with Li Ming on that Calamity.
I really like the way Twilight Dream counters Medivh's portal. In the event that there's a portal and you see a lot of players coming in, just the instant Twilight Dream, and they are all going to be a lot of trouble. But they just lack a hard CC to put them in place. I guess that's what Blessed Shield is for. By the way, the Haka does have Isolation instead of Adaptation, so not so much on the tank department. I mean, I'm just not very convinced of this Isolation pick here.
We'll see if it manages to get much value. So we saw Deadly Kittens win a team fight. Molten Core going to be used to defend here against the Curse. Leyline Seal, will we see the Sulfurous Smash?
All right, looking for the taunt on the Malfurion. Malfurion already gone. Primo now giving chase against Zaze. Zaze comes back in. You see the drag, but Primo dropping very low. And the charge goes in. Mur with the Ancestral connecting beautifully. 2 men down on Conbox SE, and you don't want to be losing a fight with the Curse in your favor. That is going to nullify the effectiveness.
Deadly Kittens like, look, we'll win this one, we'll give you the next one, but the minute you get a Curse, we're going to come back and win the next one. Nobody's going to gain anything except for a little bit of experience, although that is a very big push. The fort goes down. That is our 2 forts have now gone down. So this is our first forts of the game. I think that top one ended up going down as well. Siege Giants up there.
Nice pick on the Siege Giants, man. That's some. It's the little bit of extra strategy that counts here in this battleground. Picking up the Siege Golems at a kind of moment. Really, really nice to see. So no boss attempt from Daily Kittens just now. It was a little bit of a waste, I feel.
They'll be here now. They sent Johanna down to scout out the bottom one, made it a little bit safe play. Sometimes you see that Medivh and you wonder, like, are they coming in? Will the cavalry be behind them? Maybe we shouldn't do this, but sending Johanna down to scout out the bottom does very well. Medivh is being assaulted there by Primo. We throw some fists at your face as Karazim going in back there.
Still, oh!
7-sided strike.
Man, Zaze manages to walk out of that one just nicely, taps the well. And the rest of Daily Kittens already in position, but they will both have a boss itch, and don't think it's going to be very effective without much of a help from the players here. But the bottom lane, the boss should be able to push a little bit further because the rest of Conbox SE is on the top half of the map.
Yeah, Haka used his Brush Knocker to go down. We'll see if that becomes an issue, as the next tribute should be fairly soon. Level 16 almost here for Deadly Kittens. You have to think that instead of camps, you need to be soaking lanes, get 16. You need to be able to contest, else you're going to be facing a Curse against you this time if you're Conbox. So right now, opting for the camp, 16 has been picked up for Deadly Kittens.
16 looking really good now. And Zaze, I think his Master's Touch is complete already, but no information on that so far. Level 16 against 15, Primo knocking on the Golem. Golem's going to go down. So far, strategy-wise, you could tell that Daily Kittens, this is their game for now, because they got 2 out of 3 tributes. They just need to get 1 more. They're level 16, 1 level ahead. If the tribute, which it should spawn in the next 45 seconds or so, you will see them in a good spot. Now Primo taking too much of a beating there. He's going with the drag. Man, it does not know what he's dragging.
He's like, let me just go ahead and drag the rest of the team with you. Well, down goes to Haka. He'll be up in 30 seconds. Here comes the tribute, though, Babel. This should be an easy Curse pickup for Deadly Kittens. It's up to Conbox to try and defend and maintain, and not give up too much experience during this, else they will be facing that 20. But after this, neither team will have a tribute, so you just play the experience, play the rotations. We'll see how the strategies play out late game, but should be an easy Curse pickup here.
Yeah, we have Varian already channeling on the tribute, so it'll be Curse real soon. Stronger now, trying to apply some form of defense in the mid lane. Fiery gonna be there, moving forward a little bit, but they still don't have the Haka. He just barely respawned it. Primo playing very aggressively. He does have the level 7, so that's 3 charges. Zaze with the ley line from behind, and there goes the self first. Not being very effective, but they want to take down the Malfurion. The Ice Block coming in, full effect. And Enniver still trying to run away. No time at all for the Twilight Dream. He got cancelled Primo now in a lot of trouble. Nice try on the Raiden dash. It will not be enough. NSJ, man, no resets makes Li Ming sad.
Yeah, they have just not been able to follow up at all. 10 kills to 1 in favor of Deadly Kittens. They have been completely dominated. There goes an aggressive portal, and we see down goes Li Ming. They follow it up, take down Dahaka, and now with this curse, they'll be looking at taking down a keep. Maybe even more, because right now, this could be game. This could be game. They need to posture up, go to core. This is it. This should be game right here.
Very nice portal right there. Stronger, trying to buy some time. The taunt going out, but this should be game. You're right. Here comes Malfurion, and Ever unfortunately getting hot. Countered by the Variant charge. Leyline coming in as well. Fantastic positioning coming in. Stronger does go down at the end. Maybe not. I don't know. There goes the silence, and Cetra connects on the Medivh. But Fiery knocking on the core, and the core will go down. Game number 2 goes to Deadly Kittens. Wow, what a performance, man. Very dominating. They identified the window of opportunity as open. They went directly for the keep, and everyone's like panicking. Whoa, whoa, this is an aggressive play. Hold on, guys. It's curse time.
Don't worry. We're good.
Don't worry. We got it. We got it. Curse time.
It's a fun thing when you can just go on the other side of the wall, kill the keep. Don't even worry about the front wall and just go in game.
Yeah, so what happened was that they went in. You could see Merzace after the kill coming back out, and then they realized, hey, this could be game. Open up the portal again, go back in, take the keep, take the game. Very nice strategy here from Deadly Kittens. What do you think of the game so far?
I think that Medivh basically dictated every part of that game. We saw a great force of wills mitigating a lot of damage, and they were relying on one person to do damage, Li Ming. And if you can mitigate a lot of that damage just by negating all of that huge combo, and then you don't have anything to follow up. Li Ming didn't get resets. We saw the clutch Ancestral. That could have turned a fight very easily if Li Ming was able to get that reset at that tribute at the top left. Could have been a completely different game. But clutch Ancestral, clutch Medivh play, and the portals were on point, man. He was harassing people. Master's touch, it doesn't matter. Let me just hit my Q button every second because this is an easy game. Medivh,
easy game.
Medivh dominated that game. That was a very good showing again by Deadly Kittens. I am so surprised at how well they're doing here in game or on day number 2.
Yeah, they look really good, really prized. In fact, whipping out the Medivh, I think it's a secret strategy. We have not seen Zace on Medivh the entire time. So this is the first game I've actually seen him play the Medivh in this tournament, and it is really good. Ley lines were on point, very, very nice to force the disengage, to let Rhaegar heal up, let Rhaegar, just relax, calm down, let that Ancestral, flip the fight around. That's that I'm talking about the first fight, and then you see a lot of aggressive Ley line coming in from behind 90% of the time. That's where it hurts the most, when it comes from behind.
I think the thing is, we talked about the Varian combo. We saw a few of that into the Sulfurous Smash. Another thing that works really well is Leyline Seal. And we saw it force out a 7-sided strike as a I don't want to take this to the face. So 7-sided strike was used there towards that last fight underneath a fort. And he had to use that to avoid any damage. He ended up dying anyways. They caught another pick out of that. Malfurion got caught out a couple of times. So there was a lot of really good synergy, a lot of really good mechanics that you could see play from their draft. And again, the side of Conbox, despite having stronger heroes, I look at their draft, I say they have strong heroes, but they're not playing to the advantages. And they're not necessarily finding ways to combo and find things. They had solo Falstad with triple warrior. Second game, Li Ming with double warrior, double support. It's not working. They need to reevaluate their drafts, find things that will work in their favor, find things that they can combo off of, and play like the team that we saw yesterday that was dominant.
Yeah, I'm guessing that it's really the drafting, that they had a plan, but they came into it and somehow you could see that the Zeratul ban really affected them a lot. I am not expecting a Kharazim 7-sided Kharazim as well as a Johanna pick towards the end. That was really mind-blowing. For some reason, I think that was just... I think the draft for them died towards the end.
You have so many options at that point.
Yeah.
And you round out your draft after taking Malf Dahaka Li Ming. Strong early draft. And you round it out with Kharazim Johanna. You have to do something different with a draft like that. You obviously have more of a wave clear focus with Johanna, but Johanna's not necessarily a playmaker as some of the other warriors out there. So you lose a lot of damage. Kharazim, where does Kharazim fit into that role? A lot of it just didn't necessarily make sense. If they had opted to go something like Diablo against the Medivh. Diablo is one of the great counters towards Medivh portals. You come through the portal, let me hit my E button, I'm just going to overpower you, throw you away from the portal, and if I have my Q, I'm just going to push you away. So now that portal looks like a tiny speck because it's going to be so far away, and you'll die. And so it's a lot different strategy when you opt to go something like Johanna. it's just not the same potential, I think, that they could have possibly drafted for themselves.
And choke slam into the spear. Man,
I
the
love
dream.
it. Where's Kalaris when I need him? He'd be like fanboying WWE crazy right now.
Kalaris, shout out to you. All right, so we're going into game number 3 now. The draft has begun. It's the Tomb of the Spider Queen. Bit of a history here. Both of these teams, I think they play very much on this map. I think it's the second most picked map after Cursed Hollow. So we'll have to see how this works out. Instant ban. They just don't want stronger ETC. They decided stronger, when we remove you from ETC, we're going to shine so well. And on that side for Conbox, they just don't want to deal with the Tessadar. So that's fair. Very targeted bans coming in. I don't think it will be a Malfurion pick. They kind of figured out that the Varian with Medivh could actually be a pretty good counter against the Malfurion. So the priority here may actually be Fiery's Ragnaros. I think it's been working. I think it's been working really well for this team.
It seems like as the weekend has gone on, because nothing against Pagey in the gang, but they did not have the best Ragnaros play that we saw this weekend. So what we saw early on from the SEA region was not exactly top-tier Ragnaros play, but then we've seen it on other teams like DKittens, and we even saw this on Conbox yesterday. They ended the day with a Zeratul Ragnaros.
I love this.
Ragnaros is such a strong hero, and I think as the weekend has gone on, he went from making it to the lower part of the draft to now he's first pick priority, which is basically where he's at right now.
All right, so considering here for Malfurion, there we have it. Variant Malfurion, very good combo synergy as well if they're on the same team. That charge into Taunt, into Root, into whatever that comes behind that. You know, it could be a Jaina, it could be a Ragnaros, it could be anything. You name it, it's going to kill. For DKittens right here, they're open to picking up a Vala, I think, or even Leeming if they want to secure the hero for Zace, but he just showed that they could play more than, in fact, very well, more than just the Leeming and Vala, so we'll have to see what the plan is here. I would actually be suggesting them to go and lock in on the Rhaegar.
I think the Rhaegar would definitely be a good pickup. I think that we've seen some of these teams struggle a little bit when it comes to basically the secondary supports, not necessarily the top tier that we would see on Malfurion and Rhaegar. Rhaegar does really well in 4-mana rotations. He does well to help clear. I think a Rhaegar Vala here would be ideal. Now here's the thing. You've already taken ETC off the board. The other team took out Varian. DKittens combos a lot, and when you have Ragnaros, you want to combo off certain heroes. What is going to be their warrior pickup? And that's something that I want to see. Will it be that they're going Gul'dan? I love the pickup, but they're going back into their Tyrael.
They're keeping it open. They're keeping it open. We got Merce hero picked up, Fiery's hero picked up. Gul'dan probably going to be played by, I think, Pizza Xiao. I'm not really convinced of that one. I think he plays a lot of right-click hero compared to Zace, so Zace may be playing the Gul'dan. They are hiding something. I'm telling you, they're hiding something for a pick like that so early on, insisting on the Tyrael.
I think that, so the Tyrael pickup, there's two different ways to look at this, okay? So we saw the Koreans do this a handful of months ago because there was a lot of Tyrael play in Korea. You put down Sanctification, and then they're like, guys, what if we just put a VP over the Sanctification? It basically nullifies everything the Sanctification does. You now have multiple people grouped up. Yesterday we saw Zeratul play by Conbox. If we see a Zeratul pickup,
Jay, how they're listening, it's going to get banned.
It's too far behind. It's too far behind.
Well, let's see what the ban is. All right, Morales, they figured it out. DKittens really like to run Morales on Spider Queen.
Especially with their Gul'dan.
Especially picking up the Tyrael Gul'dan at that stage. They're just keeping it open. I think it's something specific, but it could flex into something a little bit different as well. So hopefully we're going to see... hopefully we're going to see work, man. But banning the Morales, I like that. I like that a lot. Now here, banning the Zeratul, man.
It sounds weird because it's Tomb of the Spider Queen. Do you deal with it or do you ban it out?
Do they have scouting drone at the stage? No, they don't. All right, they want to ban a Leeming instead. Okay, so no Leeming for NSJ.
Should be a Vala pickup for NSJ.
Should be pretty straightforward. Vala pickup. Vala's got a lot of different viable builds, man, so she could still go for burst with the Q build if you want to. We saw that in Korea before. Here, Varian Malfurion, very nice setup. Gul'dan with Horrify. Man, I'm just figuring out what they want to do there.
This could be a Tychus pickup. They favored Tychus on this map yesterday, and they've picked. I think it's going to be between Vala or Tychus. Whichever one. Okay,
Oh,
they do go
Tychus.
Tychus. But what do they follow this up? Will this be the surprise Zeratul pick? Again, Zeratul Void Prison, you Sanctification, it forces a clump up if things go bad. But you have to have something to follow up on that.
They may be greedy. Maybe they don't want to pick it now.
You can hide it, right? So it depending on how we see the draft round out on the side of Deadly Kittens, it could be your counter pick, and you just keep it in your back pocket. It can't be banned out. It probably will not be picked up on the side of them, so they go Sonya.
Okay, very, very aggressive.
Good wave clear, good frontline control.
Good solo laner as well.
Right now, outside of Horrify, we have no, I use this term, hard CC in terms of things that can interrupt Sonya's Whirlwind. We still have Rhaegar on the board, but they're lacking the hard CC to follow up in combo with Ragnaros. So I feel like we need to have something to pair with Ragnaros after what we've seen, so many of these deadly combos.
I feel like that it's either the Morales ban, sorry.
Is it Medivh again?
No, Medivh here? No, I don't think so. Not likely, but the key question here is the Tyrael pick really blows my mind, man. They better round this up good, because Morales ban would probably be taking out that Morales Gul'dan synergy that they had in mind, and it explains why they're taking so long with this one. Tyrael pickup, I mean, even a Muradin right there could stop the Sonya spin. You know, a Diablo would be fantastic, but a Tyrael instead, and Auriel, Sylvanas.
You know, I was looking at their draft. Sylvanas was a thing. The problem that I have with Sylvanas and Gul'dan is that they both have... So Sylvanas' Shadow Dagger goes out. It does this AoE damage.
There we go.
They just... As so long as it was a thing, they were going to make it happen.
Man, I like this. I think Conbox SEA wins this draft. Hands down. The Tyrael Gul'dan pick there was a mistake for me.
The Sonya pickup is not countered.
Completely.
The only thing that will counter is... I mean, there's no hard CC.
Detainment strike? Flick her away.
Yeah, that is true.
You could flick her away. You could pop Wheeling Arrow. I don't know. If you're vested at this stage, maybe we're going in. So,
well, we've got to see how well Varian does in the front line. Malfeels, Varian really doesn't become super tanky until level 10. So we'll see how aggressive they want to be. Tomb of the Spider Queen can be a map that you can play a little bit slower pace, pick it up late game. If you can get the early turn-ins, control the rotations, you can dictate a lot of the pace and then turn it on late game when you give yourself those talent tier advantages.
I'm feeling that because it's SCA, it's probably going to be full-on aggression, like face grind. No mercy.
The last time we saw Tyrael played,
yeah,
had a Tassadar beside him as a solo Tyrael. This time, it's Rhaegar, and that's it. So we'll see if they can make Tyrael work. I feel that of the three drafts, this is probably the weakest of DKs,
yeah.
But it's very good for this map. You have to play to the strengths of Sylvanas, you have to play to the strengths of Gul'dan, which are significant wave clear and push. Everything else is going to have to be standard. Zeratul and team, we'll see how they do.
Alright, so going into game number 3, Conbox SEA on the blue side, NSJ on the Zeratul, Primo will be your Tychus, Hiskoa on the Sonya, Stronger playing as the Varian, and Ever will be on Malfurion. And on the red team, we got Deadly Kittens, 2 games up, 1 more to victory for the Singaporean squad. Zays will be playing the Gul'dan, Mur on the Tyrael, Pizza Xiao will be possibly playing on the Sylvanas, Kuzato, the Auriel, and Fiery Ragnaros.
Why did I say Rhaegar? It was clearly Auriel.
Yeah.
Babel, please correct me.
There is no... it's interesting, though, because there is no clans in this team. So picking up Sylvanas towards the end, I think it's primarily because they saw a game in Korea with My Control just really dominating. I think you know which one I'm talking about.
Oh.
Yeah.
It was a thing. We had it. I'm trying to think of who it was. I think it might have been our B-Step. It was B-Step pulled it off and on Tomb of the Spider Queen on this map in particular. But that was against an Auriel.
Yeah. Primo in a lot of trouble, and then we have the Smite.
Just go ahead and throw this down, no big deal. First blood of the game, Tychus being taken out. Interesting rotations though, because Sonya's just now going to the bottom. This is
This is weird.
This is sloppy right now.
Yeah, this is just weird.
The Sylvanas rotation, look, we have almost a full level lead. That will be caught up here soon. But their rotations put them behind. Ragnaros was bottom. The Sylvanas rotation, NSJ can do nothing here. This is
okay. He's just gonna get life drain. Comes back in. Primo gonna need to pull back. Yeah. This is not what you expect coming out from a comp like Varian, Malfurion, Zeratul. They should be playing the aggressors here, but they are not really, rotating down to the bottom lane. Fiery, it looks juicy to me, man. They're stronger. Should be fine here. Corruption going down. NSJ just doing some AoE damage, the grenades. Yeah, this doesn't look like it's getting anywhere.
I wish I had Horrify at level 3, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, me too, man.
Alright, so we look at... It would be the dream. Or the nightmare, depending on whose side you're on. Conbox right now, okay, Sonya is your best wave clear. Zeratul has to contribute to wave clear or poke and interruptions, as Pisa is just like, wait a minute, I'm wiggling through here. Okay, so they've already pressured the top. This is actually a brilliant play. They've switched Ragnaros to the solo laner top lane because they've been so dominant. They've taken out the entire wall. There's really nothing else for them to push into. So now they've switched their 4-man rotation to the middle and the bottom. And right now, Conbox does not have an answer. Their 4-man rotation is not matching theirs. They don't have very good wave clear. They're not executing well. Malfurion, Tychus, Varian, Zeratul has to be the rotation on the backside as he was decloaked there. Conbox is just very, very outplayed in the early game right now. Deadly Kittens, where were you yesterday, team?
I don't know what they did last night, but I want to do whatever they did. It's just like they flicked the switched on and they're like full on, really, really very vested in this tournament at this stage. You could see clearly that Conbox SCA, man, they're supposed to be the aggressors here, but it just isn't going to work.
It's hard to be aggressive. Obviously, Zeratul gets a good spike of damage at level 4 with his combo slash. It's basically old follow-through. Basically, use an ability, do more damage on your auto attack. We'll see how well that goes, but this is it. The switch from the 4-man, this has no answer because they cannot match. In the minute you commit resources to a lane that is not the one that Sylvanas is in, and you switch to the opposite side of the map, you lose your fort wall. They have to recognize this, and I want to say they have to recognize it, but there's nothing left to recognize because all their walls are gone.
Taking them walls down faster than you can build them. All right, NSG. Oh, the Detainment Strike on point. Kozato punishes the Zeratul. We talked about this. Zeratul was a good pick there for the team, but this is a bad map for him, actually.
So when we saw it yesterday, we're like, this is not a good map for Zeratul. And when you don't have good wave clear to allow Zeratul to roam around and do Zeratul things like harass the enemy team, jump the back line, and just disrupt rotations, you now run into the issue of you don't have anything to do.
There's a theory of this again. Once the mid line gets pushed out, Zeratul gets a lot more open play. But when you're playing from behind in Tomb of the Spider Queen, he's practically not going to get any space at all. There you see the Blast Wave Fiery dropping a lot of HP there. Don't think it's going to be enough. Man, this is sad. Stronger in a bad spot. Mer wants to go in and hunt down that NSJ. He's still waiting for a little bit more. The Blast Wave coming in. Mer still giving chase. There goes the Smite. NSJ is a little bit exposed right there, but Mer maybe... Oh! He gets walled in! And the Blink back out! Down goes the Tyrael. But they will trade Varian. Oh, man.
I have no idea how NSJ made it out of there alive.
That was really personal. Like, I can assure you, it's personal. The way you play the chase, man, when you commit so much to it, oh, you gotta be kidding me.
He's just screaming, wave blast, but look at this. The Web Weaver in the bottom, still at about 75% HP, just pushing in. You talk about the half line, we are talking about keep wall lines, and we are only 5.5 minutes in. Level 10 is so close. You can take Sylvanas and just be aggressive, but the flank here coming in from Stronger on the backside.
Zay's in a lot of trouble looking for the Sanctification, but it's not going to be enough. And there goes Gul'dan already down. Varian going down very quickly as well. Weber doing a lot of work, but boom, baby. 2 men down from that sulfurous damage. That Thor hammer is so heavy, and it is going to mean that Conbox, man, they need to do something. This siege is a lot faster than when they took down Rohan.
They need to request a restart of this game because they find themselves 3.5 levels down, 6 minutes in. They took a fight when the enemy team was close to 10. Not only did they take the fight, but they took it from behind, leaving them with almost no escape options. And they are continuing to be aggressive. There are so many heroics that are still up for Deadly Kittens. This Deadly Kittens, my goodness.
There is a program coding for Conbox, I think, that somewhere along the line it states like, if you don't know what to do, then you just face grind. which is exactly what you see here. There is no strategy at play. They're just really looking for fights. Even though they're behind, they're still looking for fights. This is a key weakness in the SEA region. You don't see macro plays. You don't see teams trying to take it slow, avoiding fights as much. Stronger now. Man.
He's not B-stepping like he was in game 1 and 2. Tough play. The fight, more importantly, that they took in the middle lane meant that they lost all of their gems.
Yeah.
Like, everybody dropped gems. Right now, they're sitting on 8 turned in with 30 in the pocket. And this right here, unless they soak as fast as they cannot give up soak. They have to soak the middle lane right now. You have to get 10. The boss normally is just left alone. You fall back and you do things. But they have Sylvanas, and they have the level 10 advantage. Here, Druin's out. But right now, Sylvanas plus boss push, this is very threatening. This could be a keep if not played safely. Level 10 is online, though, for Conbox.
Yeah, this is this is probably going to be hard. Odin, hopefully that does something. And Enever with the entangling roots playing a little bit safe. Pizza's already disabling the keep right there. Odin popping, and you can see the aggression coming in. They really want to try and defend this, but nobody's really hitting the boss. Stronger going in really deep. NSJ from the backline. Zace with the life drain, and down goes that NSJ Zero Tool. This may just be game if it continues on, but no, DKittens will let Conbox stay alive a little bit longer. They got the keep, and this is playing it safe.
Yeah, that keep, if Molten Core was used and that boss had maybe about 10 or 20% more health, even if you don't take the core there, you can do significant amounts of core damage. And that's something that if you go out doing that, it's not a bad loss. Instead, they're going to fall back. They have a 3-level lead, a keep down, and now they've opened themselves a win condition. The minute that boss comes back up, they play the experience game, they play the advantages, they get turn-ins. They could be looking at setting up victory this early already.
That was so bad because there was no Void Prison, and I would actually, if I'm playing this game, Fable's tips, I would be going for a leap. Leap into Void Prison in the Twilight Dream. Looks so good. All right, let's see that in action. And we see that you have the South-First match missing already. The Sanctification coming out. And ever without the Twilight Dream, big mistake right there. Hiskoa in a lot of trouble, but Stronger pulling back on the top side. Sonya tries to stay alive, but both of them will go down. Primo now running away. Pits himself a second Haunting Wave, giving chase, lending the extra damage, and the poison will take NSJ's all that's left. Can they make it into a team wipe? I don't think they actually care at this point. Mur giving chase. NSJ will be all right. And there goes yet another keep.
I don't even know what to say.
This is where you got to see that the better teams can actually defend against Twilight Dream so easily. You know, the Malfurion was walking in like a boss. He got schooled.
This is a little bit greedy right now. Molten Core still up. Horrify has been used.
Oh, beautiful Horrify. Again, a second failure on the Twilight Dream. Sonya also going to go down. 2 men down on the side of Conbox C. And DKittens knocking on Stronger. I think this is game here, right there. There we have it. 3 men down. 20 seconds respawn time, so that's still pretty low respawn time. But 4-level lead, knocking on the core. Here comes the Odin, a Granddaddy trying to save this game here. Zace dropping a bit of HP. Malfurion just respawning right about now. It's gonna be close. Pizza Xiao coming in. They're trying to take someone down. Finally, the Twilight Dream goes in. Tychus is already down again, and the core goes down. DKittens wins the series.
I can only expect that Conbox, by the end of that, was on full tilt.
Yeah.
They were just like, forget it. Let's go in. Don't care what happens.